just one of those days, man. I like the fact that there's people online, you know, that'll have you believe anything, man. You're gonna get $2,000 for terrorists. And y'all said they're listening to like, because he got a MAGA hat on. So this guy on me telling people they're gonna get $1,000 because of tariffs. If they're crazy like a susu. So they're using the tariff as a susu. That's the only way I can see it. Because a tariff is a tax on people. So you're going to tax the people and then give them a piece of the action. And there's people that's happy about it. They trying to inform people about it. But the crazy part is they're trying to inform you on $1,000 to a $2,000 gift from Trump. But if the increase of healthcare goes up, you're gonna need more than $1,000 to take care of yourself. And people are starting to get more and more agitated. People are getting more and more upset at this political atmosphere because they think somebody's lying. The only reason why costs go up, it's not because of the immigrants. Costs go up because of legacy costs. Legacy costs is people are entitled. So, the more they keep beating the horse saying that people aren't entitled, most people join the military for entitlements. People will join the railroad, the RAA, the Rail Transportation Act. They join these conglomerates because there's an entitlement that Congress makes them get. Those entitlements are federally subsidized. So the more people keep lying to each other that you're shutting the government down for this reason, that reason, no. The books will tell you why you're shutting it down. Legacy costs. You got train conductors, mill workers, coal miners, all these entities that are in annuities that people sold them 20 years ago. They got to pay up. And they got to pay up because these people are locked into they're still alive. They're still alive, so they pay a premium. The organizations that they're part of pay a premium. No one's listening because you got people so excited about distraction. Now he's giving away a $2,000 check. People want to hear that. People want to hear that they're going to get some money. But unfortunately, November 1st comes, and it's going to come with a shellacking. What I love about it is the whole time people thought that the Affordable Care Act, which they call the Obamacare, was still making people enroll, and there was a tax penalty. So you have people with 5-year-old laws still in their mind. They still think that there's a tax penalty not to have health care. So what Obama did was he forced you to have health care, and if you didn't have it, he taxed you. The reason he taxed you to keep the program afloat. They went to Supreme Court. They weakened it. The Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional. People are not going to say that. They're going to start yelling and getting defensive that this is what America. That was a protection. We didn't want it, so they took it out the law. But they can't take that same law and use it on Social Security. See, people who got Social Security and Medicare, not Medicaid, I'm not talking about Medicare, Medicare, you have to get a drug plan. Most jobs, as long as you're working, they'll supplement your drug plan. Well, those are legacy costs because as soon as that person retires, they still get that coverage that their job offered them. As long as they're employed for a certain amount of time, they pay into it, they got that coverage. Those legacy costs in Medicare is the example of you ignoring a policy and thinking that no one's going to be affected by it. But we ask people, are you in a group plan? Are you in an EPO? Those things matter. when you're asking someone who is the payer, who is going to transfer the risk of the cost. And there's people shutting this whole environment because they think that it's going to just fall away. It's just going to disappear. It's not going to disappear. This situation is not going to disappear. Not at all. This situation is actually going to get worse due to the type of health people have. Diabetes is a high cost problem for states. Most healthcare is dual enrollment. So if you're 64 and older, you're in a dual enrollment plan for the most part. Certain things are state funded. These are conversations people need to have. It's one thing to say you want one thing to go a certain way, and you'll have all these radicalized people get online and they're making a big noise. But just like he's putting a strong hold on inspector generals, whistleblowers, your freedom of speech, eventually he's going to destroy the algorithm so companies punish the people that have freedom of speech on these platforms. And then that monetization is going to relinquish to you recording cats and just more misleading shit, because the machine is ran by people who want to influence the next generation to be more and more lenient, more tolerable to things that you shouldn't be tolerable to. You should not want your children to suffer because of a socialist elite agenda. But politics has gotten so toxic, and I was told all my life, anybody that's political is full of shit. So I've listened to all these political people now. All these years, they said people who are political are full of shit. I'm political. So because I'm political, I'm full of shit. So now I look at all these people who's talking about politics, and I look at them like they're full of shit. Because you don't know any laws. You don't know any reason. So they don't give you any reason to be positive about politics. Because for the most part, people in politics aren't genuinely in tune with the everyday people. Political people have agendas. They see grants, they see political influence, and now everybody's political. What's going on, man? I'm just working, talking about health insurance, and opening conversation about people wanting to have open dialogue. That's it. I'm a chauffeur, limousine driver. See the bottle of water back there? I'm on the Ireland. An organization pays me to pick them up from their organization and take them to a restaurant so those individuals can wine and dine. They pay me by the hour to sit there and do it. Uber drivers can't do that. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 20 years. Off and on. Started out as just a car driver, but I had my CDL. Yeah, Steelers suck. What's it like in France? Como stars? Is that, what is it? What is it? Ça va bien? What is it? What is the words I'm looking for? I can't. I took French and I forget that shit. Como stars? Ça va bien. So old, I can't even remember the shit. But yeah, just working. He gonna call between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. I can go anywhere I want. I just did my notes for my other job. I'm a job coach, so I had to work with an individual today. Yeah. Cool thing about, I met Wiz a couple times down at ID Labs. I actually had an engineer who we grew up with. He was there all the time. So I got to meet the whole Heavy Hustle, Taylor Gang, the government. It was a bunch of rappers. It wasn't just Wiz. I just think Wiz had the tenacity and the consistency, and he had a good team, the continuity. Because there was like 15 different groups in there. You know, E-Dan had a good establishment. Mac Miller, he came out of the woodwork, I believe, like, because Wiz was just buzzing. He had Germ. You had so many other people in that studio. And I just think out of the woodwork, there was just a great team of people working with Wiz, and there was just people sparring with everybody. I think it was just a great environment. It was fun to watch, obviously. I ain't gonna lie. There was so many different genres of music in there. It wasn't just Mac Miller. It was G.O.V., it was Wiz, it was Heavy Hustle, it was Hazelwood, it was Point Breeze, it was Lawmer, it was Lincoln, it was Braddock. There's so many different boroughs coming together. I got to meet so many different hoods and so many different people. I just think Wiz just had the continuity. He just had more, because they was all working. That's the whole thing. You had Benji, you had Kev, Smalls, Boaz, Red. You had so many people working. It was crazy. Yeah, and they were really down to earth people. I ain't gonna lie. They was really nice people. No matter what the industry may make them seem like or not, I never had any issue being around them. The only thing I think, just in my character, because I'm intrusive, I just started going through all their music and having access to a studio and people's music at that time, you know, they don't know who I am. And I think that's just turned them off because, you know, that's their music, that's their art, that's their craft. That's how they gonna pay their bills. But I've always been a fan of them because they gave me the opportunity to be around them. Where, you know, right now, 20 years from now, from that time, look at them now. They're famous, they're stars. I don't want to be connected to them. I don't need to be connected to them. I'm just happy I got a moment to be in that environment and see people come from the bottom to the top. A lot of people would be like, they know those people. I don't know those people. I was just fortunate enough to be around someone who gave me accessibility to those people. I'm around famous people all the time. I'm around supervisors, engineers, people that's going to take over Fortune 500 companies. So that's just a moment in my time in my life where I could be thankful that I was able to see Pittsburgh's first rapper, successful one, face to face and listen to his music. I even gave like words to E-Dan, like I like this star power better. Like that was fun. So people that think that you're trying to get fame by using other people's names, I don't think so. I just think that we're such in a divisive, opportunistic environment. People don't really see the good, genuine thing in people. Like, they didn't have to let me in the studio. They could have told the engineer, oh, get him out of here. Not once, not ever. I was always welcome. So at that point in my life, I could just say, even though I don't have no connection to them, I was in their environment while they were building. I was in an environment when they were establishing themselves. And they never shunned me away. They never kicked me out. I never asked them for nothing. They never asked me for nothing. So it was like a platonic environment. And I think that that's what a studio probably is like at all times. And that's why people create those studios, because it is a good environment. I was never in the environment where bad things occurred. Now, did things happen? The music industry is self-explanatory. But I can never say that they didn't bring any negativity in the studio ever. Not once. And it's crazy because I remember when Smalls became an artist with Slip and Slide. He went to Miami. And I guess there was some adverse effects that he went down there on. And I'll never forget that we was able to see the man tell his story, experience it, and he almost lost his life. And for us fans, for us to see him and him actually tell how the industry works, where we saw him be the industry. We thought he was the industry because there was no one else as affluent as he was in the streets of the music. Him and Bo as the government. That was the label. That was the artist that they were called, the team. And they were good. Fifth. They was dope. But, I think the direction the ID Labs went in, it kind of eliminated the lavishes, the slungles, it got rid of those kind of people. And then you had, what's his name, Fast Eddie. He kind of was the biggest contribution to Pittsburgh music, and people will never really probably give him his flyers. But if it wasn't for Fast Eddie's mixtapes, I really don't think entrepreneurship wouldn't have flourished like it did, because he made people, like, his mixtapes made people make music because they knew that his CDs was moving fast enough where people could catch a buzz. Because you had like F Block, Kizzle, you had so many artists getting known off of Fast Eddie's mixtapes. It kind of allowed for the industry to grow in Pittsburgh, and a lot of that just shows our authenticity in the city that we had. That I think that, I don't know, because I don't attach myself to that shit no more, but that authenticity that we had, like we had Time Bomb. You could go down there, get your clothes, get your mixtapes. You had Stediford's. You could go down there, get your music. You could get your mixtapes. They even had a like the chef, that he was like the meanest DJ too. So it's just good to talk about positive things about Pittsburgh, because it's not all about what what people are going to put in the newspaper when something tragic happens, because a lot of times it be the person chasing, the ambulance chaser, causing the grift, because the people that's really trying to make the music, they only got in the circumstance of somebody belly aching, telling, or they're a grifter that they had in their situation, and they want to be famous too. So they know the only way they're gonna get attention is they smack that tree hard enough, an apple might fall. But it's not worth it. So then when something occurs, you want to constantly go after the individual that basically he gonna spar with you, but he may not even have done nothing. And with a city small like this, gossip just flourishes. I remember when somebody lost their car, the whole time everybody was like, he didn't pay his payments, this, that, and third, and they just had rumors out there. But not until the car was repoed did the rumor make sense. But people will pass a rumor out there faster than anything. So Pittsburgh just has a lot going on and good potential now, because we on the map. A lot of people is coming here to invest. Every day I'm taking some type of executive out further in the communities to different locations. So you eventually, this job is totally different than Uber driver. An Uber driver to me is an at will worker. He work when he want to work. And you could probably make a lot of money being an Uber driver, but you end up paying taxes just like us too. So you got a bunch of people who depend on not paying taxes running around driving Uber. That's what that is. They just found out about what a 1099 is. They think the government's not going to find them. But, eventually they do, because you got to go to the hospital. And once you put that social security number in the system, they're going to be like, you 60 years old and you ain't never paid taxes? People just think they know everything. You don't. Because I don't. I learn something new every day. And that's why I just stay consistent. Because I see that people's drive is different than yours. You may be driven to get jewelry. I had that already, so my drive is not about jewelry. You might want to go get wheels. Had that already, not my drive, not in my interest. Getting wheels for my car, had that already, not my interest. But that don't mean I don't have money, that don't mean I don't have credit, that don't mean I have a future or retirement. That just means the things that people are interested in, they show it now. Instead of just saving it and putting it up for a rainy day, everybody gotta show you how they living. I'll be wearing the same clothes for a week straight. I wash them. I thought that was the smart thing to do. I didn't know I had to go to the store and buy new clothes every day to be light. So, you got to record what you eat. For what? I only do it to be sarcastic. But the energy that people will put, you make one album to rebuttal a person that does it every day, it don't add up. You only did that once. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta think about it. Somebody will make everything, they'll work off of everything you say, but they only do it one time. They put them in the office for 60 days to do that album, 90 days, 6 months to write that album. But after that 60 days, you wrote that album and you're done. This is something consistent every day, 365 days of the week. And I can write it down by recording it. It's a real life act. I have to get water in the car. I have to make sure I have a towel with me at all times to make sure the vehicle is clean. I wipe the car down while I'm waiting for the customer. My car is impeccably clean. That's the everyday thing. I cannot fake that. I can't make a beat it emulate that for you to be sensationalized. So this is the consequence of someone doing something that you have to do consistently. I have to fill out the paperwork on my computer for this job. I have to I have to clean the car. I have to keep a towel. I have to do this stuff. This is not semantics. This is not, I'm going to get a royalty check for doing this. I'm not going to get an algorithm for doing this because I have to do this every day. Every day. So there's no reward in that. There's a reward if you can get an album made, a movie made, a CD, a program made, and you sell 500 copies. You sell 500 copies an hour. You sell 500 copies in a minute. You sell 500 copies over and over again. You're going to be recognized. If you sell a bunch of t-shirts, you're going to be recognized because of supply and demand. What I do, that's consistency. You can't afford to say that's not a good job, and you can't afford to say I wouldn't do it because you can't afford it. So when someone says that's stupid, that's dumb, you have to understand it may be stupid because they don't have no interest in it or they can't afford it. You can't be dismissive to everything people do. Just like I knew a dude who worked at McDonald's. Then I found out he owned it. He was a dude, so I was like, oh yeah, he worked at McDonald's. He ain't dressed like it. He ain't all that motherfucker said I own him. There you go. So when you own something, you can make the decision on how you want to dress. So that's the consequence of looking at somebody and saying, oh, he just dressed dirty, he regular. But he's actually the fucking owner. I ain't know. Shit. Owns a whole bunch of McDonald's. But he ain't dressing the part for you to accept him for. He don't give a fuck if you accept him. He doesn't give a fuck if you want to pick up his burger and eat it. There's plenty of other people that's going to do it. But he's consistent. Why? He can't open and close that shop and say, oh, because he got to follow McDonald's protocol. There's a book. There's a system. So at the end of the day, everybody has something to say. But at the end of the day, the consequences is when you stuck in a situation and you need help, you ain't going to get the Narcan or the symptoms that you need relief from because you think it's funny, because the system is broken now. So you can go on and post all that nasty shit you writing, but when you're stuck in a situation where your hospital system fails you and you need help from that personal thing that you're doing, don't be surprised when the people in the hospital system laugh at you because you chose to make a poor life decision and think that you're being funny at the same time. That's the consequences of getting older. Oh, it's not funny no more to say random dumb shit. I'm the king of it. Cuss a manager out in a minute. Tell a boss to suck my dick. Nothing to me, dude. What you're talking about, you got to go live it. I could live this shit. So I know what consistency is. I don't need a budget to do this. People trust me because they've seen it for 20 years straight. You trying to become relevant because you're bored today. You might have got laid off. You bored. So you don't have anything else to do. You're laid off. So you're mad at the government. So you want to make sure that you're relevant. That's it. So you'll say anything to be relevant. Anything. But the funny part is all you people that know that if you want to communicate with me, you have my phone number. You can call me. In the chat, all I got to do is hit and chat. And everybody else is watching you write something that I can't see. Oh, no more No one's seeing what you write. Because that's not the point of the internet. The internet is to be the toughest motherfucker in the world on a keyboard. It's about being consistent. See, the people that's got the algorithm, the people that's doing good things and great things, they have good topics and they're consistent about it. And they got people trolling them every day trying to make them fall off their game. But then they realize to stay on their game, they just got to block the chat and stay consistent on the topics that they talk about. Now, all the people that's trolling and all the people, they got to leave this page and they got to find somebody else. It's almost like being a roach. But somebody who's consistent, they're not going to get distracted by your negativity because they've been surrounded by obstacles because they intend on doing good regardless of what the obstacle is. So you intend on distracting. I intend on following through no matter what the distraction is. So it doesn't affect me if I'm not getting gold stickers. It doesn't affect me if I'm not getting like buttons. It doesn't affect me that I don't have viewers because the mission is to follow through and be consistent. Now that don't have any reward for it. Every coach that coaches you gonna tell you that. Champions are fucking made when no one is fucking watching. That is the goal of life, to be a champion, not a follower, not an attention seeker, not a conflicted, confused transformation of something. Because you want attention so bad, you're willing to jump out your skin to get people to address you no matter what it is that you want them to address. Because once you get them to address you, you're not being consistent, you just got them to react. See, consistency is, I got people consistently blocking me. I got people consistently ignoring me. Then I got people consistently watching me. So that consistency, it creates something. When you're not consistent and you're a procrastinator, you're great at deflection and redirection because you don't want to spend the energy that's necessary to follow through with the mission. So you can never distract someone like that because they've seen all the bullshit that goes along with dealing with people. You got people out there that will make you mad just to see you mad. Haha. But the part that they don't like is when you make them mad. Now you become their stimuli. Now that's when it's threatening. That's when people overreact. But they didn't know the game could be played back on them. But you actually got a definition to that. See, there's some motherfuckers that'll play with you and don't know the definition. See, I know the definition. I'm your stimuli because you're my stimuli. So if you overstimulate me, guess what I'll do to you? Do you have these so-called rich people that think that's called raging? That's not raging. It's the other form of education that doesn't depict you by having money. It's actually a job. It's a necessity to comply with protocol and procedure for employment. So when people try to describe who you are as an individual, let's reverse the role and let's say the information that that individual was giving you is actually employable information. And that depicts who they are as an individual. But instead, you'll reverse the role to monetize another narrative that undermines the reality that people who are an adult, who are consistent, we don't have endorsements. The only endorsement we'll have is the guarantee that the people that want us around them will continue endorsing what we do. That's not an endorsement that gives you monetary incentives to continue with the narrative. Only thing they give you is the tools necessary to keep moving. And that's where people delegitimize another individual. Because they're like, if it was so great, why don't you own yours? If it is so great, why don't you do this? The same people that say, if is this so great, they stare at me and give me offers to leave the people that I'm with. Who are you talking to? If your company was so great, if your opportunity was so great, why don't you have individuals who love what they do and are dedicated and consistent to what they do? See, do unto others and treat others the way you want to be treated isn't a rhetorical mantra. It isn't a facade. It isn't for anyone to go and say, well, I know a hospice pastor. Well, that's great. But the individual that says he knows a hospice pastor should also understand he knows the pastor that keeps people living. You see what I'm saying? So how you gonna glorify death but bring up love? Because the teachings that pastor is giving is a homecoming, and he wants to get you there because the gate is narrow. The road is wide, the gate is narrow. So the individuals that tell you they know a hospice preacher is exactly what the pastor is trying to show you. The road is wide, but the gate to get in is narrow as heck. Hospice pastor, that is all you can find. That's how hard people try to put something in your spirit and think that they're going to dominate with that rhetoric. No, that's when you always stay prayed up, because God is your armor in real life, not in this YouTuber world. God didn't say he gonna protect you if you go in the hood with a gun. God didn't say he gonna protect you if you go and chase down people and think that they gonna chase you back down. It don't say that. It don't say that nowhere. It also states willingful and unwillingful sins. So the same people that say that they're being blessed, but they're willingly doing against God's will, you're no better than the person that's going out and doing willingful sins. Because the unwilling isn't willing to do the same things the willing is willing to do. That's why consistency is different for the unwilling and the willing. There's two different types of consistency. See, the unwilling consistency is I'm willing to get up and go to the bar every night because I'm unwilling to live by the word of God and do it consistently. Now they say the word of God, but if this is the word of God, why are we smoking weed and believing in Allah? And we don't eat pork, but we shoot guns and drink Henny, but we believe in Allah. Well, you might as well eat pork. What's the difference? Because I know in Allah's book it say live by the sword, die by the sword too. And in the Pharisee of the great Elijah is about God's people, that Jesus had a brother that they denied. What Pharisee were we gonna go with? What argument? They're two good people. So how does two good people become an enemy of the other good, and this good is not bad enough to be good enough? So you understand that when you listen to people, they're pushing a narrative. And a lot of people convert into Islamic belief because they were locked up in jail and this Islamic person fed you. That's how you met Quran. Because when you was free, you met Jesus because he was feeding you. So the food, the bread, the nourishment, the love, the protection, the obedience is still there, but he says it in the word of God, in the word of Jesus, in the word of Allah. You know of me, but yet you will not listen. Consistent people know of Jesus. They know of Allah. They know of Yahweh, and they listen. So the investment isn't a payout to keep spewing negativity. The investment is empower yourself for positive change, because the investment that they have now in our culture is to degrade our ability to upgrade each other. We don't have that ability no more. When you talk about Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, if you talk about any of those people, their value in their community was making people feel better about themselves. That's what they're there for. They're not just there for your political tyrant. They were there to help you see you could be a pastor too. You could be a deacon too. You can be a volunteer too. You can do good deeds for the good of people, for humanity. Yes, they have titles called pastors, deacons, archbishops. All these names are valuable to keep a society in structure. But we have entitled ourselves into the gang culture. Period. Everything's a gang. Republicans, Democrat, gang. Supreme Court, Federal Court, the Federalists, gang. They're gangs. Rich versus the poor. We're now a gang going against another gang because they shut the government down to show you there's a divide. If there wasn't a divide on the poor versus the wealthy, you would have a government running functionally. But there's a group of people on each side. One side says keep helping the poor, and another side is saying we're going to have to tighten our belt and do things differently. People are going to have to work harder. Mind you, when we were at world wars, it wasn't what the country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country. So people had to build ships. But this gang mentality says, F them white people. The black mentality, F them white people. The white people mentality, F those lazy black people. The immigrant mentality, oh, those people are from another country. Those are immigrants. Hold on. We're all immigrants. It goes back to the one thing I keep going back to and saying. Everybody mad that they don't know what they was giving the immigrants. So as soon as they heard that shit, people got mad. And they have a right to be mad because that funding should have been going to the American people. But the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Fettermans of your... You see, John Fetterman's a good one. See, John Fetterman's playing both sides. But if you go out to Rostraver, Westmoreland County, if you go out to rural America, where he was influential was putting Haitians in Charleroi. He was the one putting the Israelis and the Palestinians in Charleroi in Westchester counties because they were giving money. And these politicians like McCormick were putting those transplants in those neighborhoods. They knew they couldn't put those people in Allegheny County. There was no money. So that's why I laugh at people that call themselves political. Why don't you go to the fucking welfare website and change the county from Allegheny County and look why Trump is doing what he's doing. All the money that's frozen is in all the other counties. You go to any website, welfare website, and go out of the bigger populous counties, and all the white, desolated, depressed, prideful people didn't use any benefits. Trump seen that money sitting in those accounts and he took it because people's pride was in the way. I don't need it. That was for, the government shouldn't be giving us anything. Well, now people put your money where your mouth is. And that's the ideology. Is to constantly beat down one another to make you feel you're not being heard. Let's say perverted things on the chat to make you walk away. Won't work. Because when you're consistent, you don't need a teleprompter. You don't need a playwriter. You don't need a team of people running around looking for information. You ask me, I'm going to talk about it. Without equipment, without notes. Because that's my interest. Because I'm consistent. That's the difference. You can't make an album, a movie, and think that's going to be it. I'm going to keep going. Are you serious? That's all you got? That's it? A mixtape? A movie? Ad lib to say something slick. That's it. 10 of y'all, 15 of y'all. One time for 30 days. That's it. That's all you got. You know, people got to go to work every day. Every day. And you can turn it around and say, you made poor life decisions. You can say this, you can say that. I come from, my dad never worked. So in my generation, I'm the first Harrington, me and my twin, to work, and my older brother. My dad didn't work. So you saying that everybody got to start at the same pace that you did. Some people might have killed people to get their money. Some people might have sold drugs and poisoned the whole neighborhood for 30 years to get their money. And then now they turn around and give it back to the community. At the end of the day, we can't judge them, but God can. You have people that have been stealing money from their community for years, who get the title mayor and never do anything for the people, but their family's taken care of. So what are you trying to compare? Because those same people you're trying to go against aren't consistent. That's why they do the things they do. I'm getting paid already. So what did the one person say? That you're not even making any money on. I'm being paid. I'm actually on a clock right now. I worked on a note. So say that I'm making nothing on YouTube, right? But I'm literally telling some young kid, you don't need YouTube to go apply for a job, to work from your other job, and you're working your other job. You don't need YouTube to do that. What you're showing YouTube is you believe that you got to tell the internet that thanks to y'all giving me money, I'm successful. Make it make sense. All he's going to do is cut this off. Now, where's your residual coming from? Where's your retirement coming from? Where's your tax penalty money coming from you not reporting your income that you got off here? Because he's going to come for that too. But you believe in the narrative is I'm successful because Charleston is. But Charleston never told you how to make yourself successful in the working world. He's telling you how to demoralize your own community like a drug dealer. That's what he's doing. That's what the dope man did. The dope man said, look, I'm going to do this, young man, and I'm going to bounce out of this situation. Dope man bounced out of the situation. But he left behind collateral damage. He don't give a fuck about the collateral damage because the forefathers before him did it. So if his forefathers did it and he doing it, what changes? Nothing does. So the same white man that's chasing your ass, he's going to be chasing your great generation because you continue to make people think this is the goal for this group of people. And what they did was say, let's invest in more jails. Let's invest in more guns because they're consistent with that. They're not consistent with showing each other how they can go and get a job doing something that's called use your thinking brain book and be able to make a conversion while they're sitting hourly. No one's communicating that. What they're communicating is, man, you ain't making money fast enough, cuz. You ain't making money fast enough, dog. I can show you how to make money in 2 minutes. It'd be complete fraud. And eventually, all those tricks run out. Judges learn those tricks. So then you try to do the trick, and guess what? You get caught. You get caught and don't even know the plan to get out of the plan. At least the attorneys that we had back in the day, they could go up to the prosecution, the DA, they can go up to the state and be like, this motherfucker is a clown. But now, y'all done made the system richer, colder, and has more power than it ever had. Because to enslave somebody, you have to welcome the people that want to enslave you. So the more you give up on the process of not being enslaved, the more they take the power back. You didn't care to vote. You don't realize what you pay into. Now the new mantra is we want our tax dollars back because the government shut down. If the government shut down, why are we paying taxes? See, it takes an oxymoron to look at a moron's circumstance. See, that's what it takes. Jumbo shrimp versus regular shrimp. These shrimp bigger than this shrimp, so I'm going to call these jumbo. But they're shrimp. So the situation won't become dire until people realize they're taxing you without representation. So is it the Republicans' fault or the Democrats' fault? It's the government's fault because they're one. They're taxing you without representation. Your paycheck still gets taxed. Government shut down and everything. Your paycheck is still being taxed. That is taxation without representation. Nobody's talking that, but now y'all are because you're saying, well, the government shut down. Why am I still getting taxes taken out my check? Well, become more consistent and say that more often because that's what it's all about. Taxation without representation caused a whole revolt. Oh, you're talking about high school again. Because y'all invested in wanting girls and guys want guys to like guys and girls want girls to like guys that say the things you want to hear. I can give a rat's ass. I don't study what you study. I don't read what you read. I don't spend my money on what you spend your money on. I will give a rat's ass about Nene's yucky ass hair and Shaniqua's BBL. I could give a fuck less because when she get 50, that ass is going to be on the floor and everything else about this lie is a lie. Think about it. Same chick you thought was a bad B. You thought that was a bad chick. Chick bad. Look at her now. Same dude you thought was that dude shit. Look at him now. You ain't got to question who we are. If the motherfucker was wearing hats when he was 14, is he still wearing hats when he's 43? Yeah. Consistency. That's what your mama didn't understand when you met me. Yeah, he worked too much, mom. Crying on the phone. He worked too much. Now you with your baby daddy. That motherfucker don't work. It behooves me. It just behooves me that people's narrative is to only be about lowering you. You got people following you just to pick up the phone and argue with you. So I can't talk to nobody because their perception of you is you say the wrong things online. Hold on, you can't control me. And that's not like a personal person. That's like people that are in my life. They mad. Why you say the things you say? Like, do you not see the other 333 million people living their normal life? So before you get your panties in a bunch in life, you have to make a determination. Who are you really doing this for? Are you doing this for people to accept you? Or are you doing this because you love what you do and you're consistent? And this is just more ammunition for you to show the doubters when they say, where the fuck were you, Daryl? Why is you never outside? Why ain't you? I'm working. And that's vital in life. Because when you working, you're feeling your retirement. See, people say, retirement, ain't gonna be no retirement. The hell with you? There's been recessions, there's been depressions, there's been government shutdowns, and guess what people still do at the end of the day? They fucking retire. You know who gets left behind? The haves and the have-nots. Because you're constantly worried about what Gilly the Kid doing, Hason Campbell doing, what goddamn Chopper City doing, what goddamn Banzo Kevin doing. Gives a fuck. You know the first reason why people lose their jobs at work? They trust their boss. First thing they do. They trust their boss. I trust you. You're going to change my life. And your boss trusts you. Then what happens is he trusts you so much you make a poor, ill-advised decision. Might go over his head. You might pass a rumor. He might set you up with a rumor and see if you're going to pass that rumor. So you in your mind still think, I got this person like this. But in that person's mind, they tricked you into doing this. Because you told them everything they wanted to hear. Instead of just being yourself. You know, every day you're gonna have a chance to make better choices. But if you allow people to put you in a box, as you see, then they'll put you in a box because they don't do what you do. So they'll put you in a box because they think that you're trying to prove a point and it's not what they want to be proven. But it doesn't matter what they think. Stay consistent. That's the point. It doesn't matter. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. That's it. Just stay consistent. It won't matter how people feel, what they think. If you're consistent, that kills everything. What does consistency come up to be? Think about it. You look at anybody who's not consistent and look at the people who are consistent. That's all you gotta do. You want to compare apples to oranges because their teeth is yellow and yours is white, but you got herpes simplex. We can't see that. So what do you don't take care of your kids, but that person do. We don't see that. So why are you filling your cup with people's bullshit when consistency matters? Not their bullshit. Their bullshit don't get you nowhere. Their bullshit don't even get you a paycheck. But like I said, you would think zero opportunity on the internet, but abundancy in real life. Make that make sense. This is not real life. This is you propping up a device and recording yourself. You can bring I can make more light. I can open a moonroof. I can open a moonroof. I can add any semantics I want. I can take my hat off, take my hat off. But in real life, shit, the wind will blow your hat off. You didn't even know that wind was so strong. It could go dark and I can't make no light. That's real life. I can't change the shit. I can alter video. I can make it more, I can put music on it and make you feel more attached. But in fucking reality, consistency. I can go apply for a job, sit on the clock, do the other job, left the other job. Consistency has nothing to do with, let me record an album or a video, hope people watch it. That don't change the narrative if someone takes it from you. If they change the rules in the middle of the game, what's the play? What's the alternative? Shall I begin? Shall I begin? What's the alternative? I'm waiting. Put it in the chat. Can't, because the alternative is reality. Up shit's creek. That's reality, motherfucker. Oh, yeah, I got this endorsement from dickweed.com. All right, but they cut the internet off like we in Gaza, and it's on a 30-minute interval. You ain't gonna get too many dickweed commercials going on there, buddy. You're going down the drain. That's where we're headed. With authoritarian presidents, you have an individual that don't respect color. All these people sitting back, moping on the internet saying we're going to get a check. Moping on the internet that people who don't talk sound like you are crazy. But one thing I do remember about history is the Yankees won. The Confederates lost. So what you really experiencing is a representation of a loser. A loser wants to run a country to help the losers feel that they won. Even Republicans say that because they're Yankees. Just because the Yankee isn't a Confederate doesn't mean he don't know what happened. So that's where civics and your civil duties play a factor. You ain't gonna let no one call you a Yankee, so it don't matter because you're gonna say we won. So only dumb people feeding the dumb people, because I'm a Yankee that beat the Confederates' ass. That's why you have America now. So fuck a Confederate, fuck racism. They're losers. That's why they brought the shit back. They want to run it back. They want to run it back and make sure all the kids is dumb enough not to believe that the Yankees didn't whoop the Confederates' ass. Yeah, period. That's why we're blue. That's why I wear it. That's why I wear it. Because the Yankees whooped the Confederates' ass. The Confederates are losers. And that's why they're mad. That's why blacks are mad. That's why they're angry at the Yankees. Because they mad. They want you to listen, boy. Went down south and got cussed out by every black person I met. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. At work. I don't know about street people. I don't know how that work in the street. I'm not street. I'm going to do a Wale on you. I'm just not street. I'm going to do a J. Cole on you. I'm just not street. I know street people, but I ain't street. Went down there. They said, you conditioned, boy. What the fuck you talking about? You a Yankee. A Yankee? Like the Yankees that beat people's ass? We win baseball series, World Series, we the Yankees? No, you a Northerner, and y'all some Yankees. Come on. Didn't the Confederates lose? See, when you consistent, you don't just let people just say anything to you. You don't give a fuck what color you is. Oh, you just a fucking motherfucker. Listen here, bruh. You can say all that shit you want, but didn't the Confederates get their ass kicked by the Yankees? So you the sellout, because you never transformed over to the winning side. So you conform to being oppressed by the oppressor. Confederate, kiss my ass. I'm a Yankee. I'm gonna rub it in your face. Since you want to make America great again, brother, let's make sure you understand you're a fucking loser. The Yankees whooped your ass, and now you want to run it back and lose again. What the fuck you think the North gonna do when them Southerners start talking that shit? Come on, you're losers. Get over yourself. Fucking crybabies. Now you want to vote a president that's taking your benefits, all the red districts. It's a joke. You lost the war, and now you're losing your health care. Let's read history and see how this shit work out. A bunch of people get measles, rheumatia, the fucking chicken pox, and all this other shit because you want to run it back to slavery and lose again. Because the people are going to realize. They're going to realize it. You're fucking crazy. They're going to realize. The Confederates lost for a reason. That's the thing. Why did the Confederates lose to the Yankees? I'm on the internet playing with my meat. And? Boy, your mama plays with my meat. How about that? With your daddy watching. Yeah, with your daddy watching. Yeah, your daddy watches me play with my meat. What the fuck is wrong with you? I say it just like that. Fuck. Y'all acting like the only people that really live in their life is people that carry guns, got tattoos, and smoke weed on the internet. Y'all better get a job. Motherfuckers is living their best life. I'm taking a dude right now to dinner. He got a limousine and he got water. Some motherfuckers don't even got no water. They ain't got no water. But the internet's where I'm on all day long reading tarot cards. Man, you better go get you a job and another job. And I'm gonna erase this because I heard that people say that you don't even keep the videos on there for what? You ain't watching me right now live. You want to come back and bring 50 translators with you and then have the translator say, what that mean? Because that's the problem. You got to learn how to articulate yourself. Y'all run around with translators. I don't need a translator to translate nothing. I sit with people all the time that are very fluent and speak a lot of different languages, and I understand it properly, and I have no problem with it because I'm consistent. So I don't need an album, a video cover, a YouTube channel, because I keep saying it over and over again. I have this job, that job, and I'm getting paid to do this one as I'm doing that one. So YouTube doesn't have to pay me. I don't need to be monetized. So if you worried about monetization, just know that shit's coming to an end when you're fucking with Donald J. Trump, because it's called freedom of speech, and he's after that. So all you people that think I'm going to be on the gravy train for the rest of my life on the internet, you're in for a rude fucking awakening, because he just got, what was that, TikTok under his control. What you think he gonna do to YouTube next? What you think he gonna do to all that Pardon and all those other channels? If you saying something negative or in line with a revolt against his shit, you're not gonna be on the internet making no money soon, because he got the Supreme Court going against you. He got the Republicans snorted out on some goddamn fentanyl, thinking that healthcare is not a detrimental. You're just gonna take everybody off healthcare. You're just gonna take everybody off healthcare. That's what you're gonna do, because people are gonna be like, fuck healthcare, I can buy my house now. People are gonna say fuck a car, because they can just walk now. Eventually, the economy is gonna tank on people thinking that it's not sustainable to live by American story no more. So then you want to get a new president. You want to get a Democrat. And then the Democrat going to give it all away to make you happy. But the economy is $57 billion, trillion in debt now. So what are they going to give away? What are they going to give away now? Y'all voted for a president you thought he was going to give you a check. But then he's going to give you a check because he tariffed you to death. So now he's going to give you a percentage of the tariff to make you feel like he gave you something, but he taxed you to give it to you. So it's taxation without representation, because the government is shut down. But y'all think this is forever YouTube. Ever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. And then you think you could talk about stuff without somebody giving you information. What would you like to talk about? Yeah, you have to wait for a question to answer question, Q&A. I can talk for an hour straight. Hour straight, just talking. Don't need no questions. Don't need no goddamn topic. But you got these people that sit with lights and backgrounds. They act like they got glasses on, and they're so informative. But they need someone to give them the information before they can say it. What the fuck are we talking about? You a guessing game? We playing hangman. Give me a J, okay. J, okay. Give me a LL, okay. Oh shit, that ain't you just guessing. Give me consistent, concise. Why the fuck the government is shut down, and why does the government need to be reopened? Give me a consistent and concise reason why it needs to be shut down and why it needs to stay. Give me a consistent and concise reason why you think immigrants get health care when they don't. Give me a consistent and concise reason why you think these things without picking up your motherfucking phone and give me the rules that go along with it. I ain't asking you about who got fentanyl. I ain't asking you who got the fucking gun with the 40-pound bullet. I ain't asking you who got the Kevlar vest. I ain't asking you who got the lean. I ain't asking you none of that shit. I asked you to give me substantiated information that goes consistency with somebody's fucking life. That's what I asked. That's the difference. It's not an album. It's not a video cover. It's not a motherfucking car. It's not a tire show. It's not a TV show. Motherfucker, tell me consistency. Tell me. Give it to me, please. I beg you. You want to tell me about consistent fucking running up and down the highway? Give me a break. You want to give me consistency when you tell me how you cut the fucking tar? Give me a break. You want to give me consistency on how you blow some Yamina? Give me a break. Give me consistency on how they're going to take social economics out your life and make it a systemic issue. Because most programs are based upon entitlement. Most employment, from railroads to bus operators that work for your county, they are your legacy costs. Give me consistency. I don't care about publicity stunts because I'll be dead and gone. And you know what the same old goddamn story will be? Down on my luck, back against the wind. Give me consistency, not conspiracies. Countries ran by the people who voted for the individual to run it. The same adults that told me year in, year out, you're too political as a child. You're too debative. People don't like it. I'm surrounded by now a whole platform of people that say they're political. Political. What's a farm bill? How economically dumb are people when they hear the word farm bill? When you hear farm bill, you think of what? A farm, huh? No, asshole. It's pork spending. And they make it sound so enticing by calling it farm bill. But it does make a little bit of sense about agriculture. And now people realize it's called food stamps, you dumbasses. Farm bill. Yeah. Check me out. Consistent. Yeah. Been doing this for years. Yeah. Farm bill. Mr. Consistent over here. Farm bill. That's what it's called. Yep. And you allowed your government to talk your ass out of position. Fuck shutting the government down. Put some money together on that farm bill. You gave $20 billion to Argentina. That's part of the farm bill. Why didn't you put it in the farm bill? You're not talking to somebody who wants to hurt your feelings. You're talking to somebody who's consistent. You trying to hurt my feelings. I'm consistent. You know how many times people don't call me names and shut me out, then lock me out, then block me out, then betrayed me? Yeah, I'm consistent. I got friends that call themselves friends, but their phone don't work unless it's benefiting them. What are you saying? Consistent. I'm always available. They could be on the side of the road. Guess who's gonna be there? Consistent. I ain't worried about the rebuttal, bruh. Because at the end of the day, guess who I am? Consistent. Consistent. The same ones that railroad themselves out of their position, I had to be Mr. Consistent. They ain't gonna never believe it. But guess what you gotta be? Consistent, baby.